Excellent. My name is Novella Ford, and I'm the Manager of Public Programs here at the Schomburg Center. Thank you for joining us for tonight's event. In a world where every child is born bright, but not every child has the resources or influences in their lives to grow into that promise, Nicole Mason managed contemptuous forces throughout her childhood to gain a full merit scholarship to Howard University. She also obtained her PhD, serves as the Executive Director of Research and Policy and Public Interest at the New York Women's Foundation, and completed her debut memoir, Born Bright, A Young Girl's Journey from Nothing to Something in America. Before we start with the conversation, we will have Charlene Carruthers come out and read a passage from Mason's memoir.
And so the passages I chose deeply resonate with me. And as I shared with Nicole, I said, I had so many, wow, that happened to me moments while reading this book. She changed her behavior, became a better mother, and although she still struggles to make ends meet, is on her way to economic prosperity. Hallelujah. The end.
Now please welcome Vanessa DeLuca and Nicole Mason.
I have to tell you that this statistic that you put in the book literally stopped me in my tracks. And that is that 47 million people in the United States live in poverty. And not surprisingly, or maybe it should be, but it's not, highest among Blacks, Latinos, and female head of households.
We hear it all the time about if you work hard enough, you'll make it to the top. And Barack Obama's second inaugural speech, he pretty much says that. And even when people say that, I feel really uncomfortable because I know that that's not the truth. Because only a small portion of people who are born into poverty ever make it to the middle class or to the top. And so I really wanted to make an intervention and tell a story that would not only give life to what I know to be true, but also disrupt the damaging narratives that we see all the time circulating in popular media and culture.
So you talk to your mom, you talk to your brother, you talk to
my father, my mother and my father had it'd be the same story, different facts. I was like, I don't know, I'm gonna have to take a middle ground here, And
you think that's because everybody was using their own, like you said,
their own eyes. They were seeing the story. Like, so my brother, when I interviewed him, I said, well, why do you think it is that Mom and I had a difficult relationship? Right? So I wanted to hear what he had to say. He said, because I think you thought you were smarter than her. And I was like, that's not my interpretation, what I thought was the problem, So, white people don't understand, for example, why Black people are afraid of police. It's because they don't have that kind of historic relationship with the police. Again, in the book, I try to complicate and answer those questions about why. So I talk about, for example, where there's a woman who's raped and the police come, and instead of arresting the perpetrator, doing whatever, they just hold his hand, she beats him up, and then they kind of go their separate ways. I had some really good friends who read the book as I was writing, and I would leave out something. They said, you can't leave that out. You have to tell this, because if you don't say this, then they won't understand why this happened. The choices that she was making, I didn't understand them as wrong or right, because she was my mother. So whatever she said was right was right. Years later today, I can say, those are different choices than I would have made, but I am not my mother. She's making these constrained choices that, thankfully, I don't have to make and have 2 children to feed. So, how can we, without doing work, how could that be true, given all the images that we are bombarded with that tell us we are not beautiful, both within our community and outside of our community? And it's only by with the love of other Black women that we are affirmed.
I know, she said. That's so sad. Although I couldn't see her, I was almost certain she was shaking her head. She felt sorry for me. I drowned out the rest of the conversation. I couldn't take it. I focused on the globular green flower on my bedspread and blinked hard to push back the tears. My door was still open, and I didn't want anyone to pass by and notice me crying. I sat there working hard to convince myself that I was going to be okay. To them, I was the little girl from California without parents to help her unpack. To me, I was the girl who made it.